Hello guys, welcome to a new video, and we are gonna discuss what are those 5 big attributes that you can use for wheel strategy. So without any further ado, let's start. Okay, so I'm in my computer screen and I'm gonna use my website, which is the Options University, and this is the article that I wrote almost a while back, but these are still holds true, so I'm gonna use this to explain you what are those 5 key things that you should look out for whenever you do a wheel strategy. Okay, so the first thing is liquidity, how liquid that particular stock is, and this is a very important factor when you choose a stock for wheel strategy, because you do not want to end up in a situation when there are no contracts, right? You want a good number of contracts both as a buyer and the sell, right? So for example, let me go to my Robinhood, right? So QQQ, right? QQQ is a good example of a liquid stock, and if you wanna quickly check, right, like how you can find a liquid stock, then I would suggest that you can go to this site, that's barchart.com, and you can quickly see your most active options, right? This shows you what are the active options, and they are pretty liquid, right? You just look at mostly you have to look at this option volume. So if the option volume is pretty high, that means that stock is very liquid, right? But there are some other factors that you need to look out for, and that's my second one. Just by looking at volume doesn't kind of guarantee you that this is a good stock for wheel. So the next one is that you should look out for is the volatility, right? That is also very important. You do not want a stock, or you should not be running a wheel on a stock which is very highly volatile, right? Like in this example, as we saw, right, Nvidia is a good one, but is it a good stock for it is a good one in terms of liquidity, but is it a good one for in terms of the volatility? No, right? Because the IV, right, this is, you have to look at the IV rank, right? So IV rank tells you kind of how volatile that stock is, and this, as you can see, this is a highly volatile stock, and running a wheel here would be pretty difficult, because you would have to adjust this position very frequently, right? There is one benefit though, that you do get good premium with the high volatile stock, but the downside is in the wheel strategy. Let's say you start with the sell put, right? The very next week maybe you will have to own that stock, and then you run the covered call. The very next week you may have to sell the stock, right? So that's what happens when you choose a stock which is highly volatile in nature to run the wheel strategy, right? So those are the two things. The first thing, as I explained, is the liquidity, and the second one is the volatility. So the next one is dividend, right? You have, this is personally, I don't tend to go with the dividend one, because it's kind of premium wise it's pretty low, but for a wheel strategy, if you want to stick with a very stable portfolio, these are the good stocks to pick who pays dividend, right? Because if a company pays dividend, that means, that kind of tells you that they are fundamentally strong companies, because there are some companies which are called like a dividend aristocrat, and this which are like have been paying dividend for last 25 years, right? So they are a good one to run wheel. Like for example, like a Walmart stock, right? They're pretty stable stock, and you can do wheel strategy comfortably in those kind of stocks. The premium would be a little lower side. So this is one more thing you have to be aware about, the dividend payment date and the record date when you do choose these stocks, because during that time the volatility does increase and there is a good chance of assignment, right? So if you choose a stock with a dividend, then be aware, go to the Nasdaq site and check their dividend record, right? When there's a record date and when is the dividend pay date, right? Because during that time you may have a early assignment risk, so be aware about that. Okay, so the fourth one is the fundamentals, right? So fundamentals basically is a basic thing. You have to don't choose a stock which is like a pink slip kind of a stock, right, which is highly volatile in nature, something like a pharma stock, right? Stay away from those kind of stocks, not just for wheel but even otherwise, but especially for wheel they're pretty bad choice, because it's in by nature itself they will have very less option volume, they may not even have options. And the second one is you have no control on what news comes up, what goes, like it may go like 20% 30% up in a single day. Those stocks are not suitable for a wheel strategy. You need to choose stocks which are good fundamentally, right? Like I said, like Apple or like Walmart, right, Costco. These are kind of stocks which are fundamentally good and they're very good for the wheel strategy, right? So this is one more factor. So the final one is the beta value, right? So the beta is a stock, a measure of a stock in comparison to like the overall market, right? So you treat that like you start from 1, and if you see that a beta for a stock, let's say, is 1.2, or let's say 1, or maybe let's say 4, right? That means 4 is a higher the number, the higher it kind of deviates from the overall market, right? If the market is, you consider 1, and if you see a stock which has a beta of 4, that means it has highly uncorrelated from the overall broad market, right? So that is a good indicator that you need to choose a stock with a less beta value, right? The less beta, it links to the volatility point that I explained. The less the beta, the less volatile the stock is, and it's good for the wheel strategy. If you want to check the beta value, I suggest you can use something like a Finviz, right? So this is a QQQ, and you can come here and check the beta value, right? So the beta value for this is 1.1, right? That means it's not that volatile, it kind of moves almost in line with the SPY or the overall market, right? But if you go for some other stock which are highly volatile, you will find that this beta value is pretty high. So don't choose those stock for your wheel strategy. Okay guys, so that was a quick video that I wanted to share, these 5 important attributes that you have to look out whenever you do research on the stocks to run the wheel strategy. If you have any questions, do put your questions down in the comment. I do look at them and I answer them. And if you have not subscribed guys yet, then please do so. There are a lot of videos around options that are still in my channel, and I am going to make a lot more. So do subscribe guys for all the future videos. I'll talk to you in my next video. Till then, happy investing. Bye bye.